Hey, what's up, everyone? It's Trent from CourseCareers. I'm the tech sales instructor at CourseCareers, and today I'm going to be interviewing Christopher, who is a successful CourseCareers graduate, to talk about exactly how he broke into tech sales. Christopher, why don't you let everyone know what you were doing prior to tech sales, why you wanted to get into tech sales, and what you're doing to now? If you just want to summarize your story, then we'll dive into the details.
Okay. Well, what I was doing before I graduated from Tulsa Welding School in 2018 as a welding specialist, worked in the industrial industry for about 3 years, welding pipe and structural components. Then I got my CDL, where I was also working in the commercial construction industry, driving ready mix trucks, and I did most of that in Louisiana and in Texas as well. So.
Interesting. So you were welding, and then how did you go from welding to selling technology?
See, how can I say this? Kind of weird.
Mhm.
When like the pandemic happened, I kind of got into sales as a freelancer. So I found out about sales. It wasn't B2B, but I got into sales as a freelancer around 2020 because the pandemic happened. No one didn't want to work around anyone. So that's how I started to find out more about sales. But also over the years, it's crazy. I kind of, when 2022 came, started seeing some of your videos. I was like, man, tech sales. I was like, I don't know what is tech sales. It sound like it'd be really cool to get on the tech sales. But I was like, you know what? I'm gonna just continue to watch Trent videos and see how this goes. And I started to see more people get in. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and take that leap. So finally took that leap this year to try to get into it and end up getting to it.
I see. So you were doing welding, so in the field and doing that type of labor, which is of course much different than sales. You pandemic hit, so it's sort of hard to be around other people at that time. That led you get into contract sales, or what exactly was that all about?
But the freelance sales was
Freelance
more
sales, yeah,
the
freelance
freelance
sales.
it was 100% commission based, so you had to produce
Mm.
MLM. So I did learn some really good skills over there, but I was like, no, I don't want to be doing no 100% commission, and I gotta build a team and then make sure the team is constantly producing where I can get my commission going up. So I was like, I need to get on something that really makes a lot of sense and something I feel like I can be very passionate about.
100% commission only is tough. It's usually a red flag for anyone out there. It's a hard way to make a living. So you were doing 100% commission only sales. You had some welding experience. You were learning about technology sales, and then you had some sales experience. Did you just try to get a tech sales job directly, or what role did Course Careers play in this? Why did you feel like you needed to invest in a course to help you break in?
See, before I got into Course Careers, I was with Field Sales Academy, right? That was more ed tech sales. That was how I got in to just learn a little bit more about tech, but it was more about selling technology within the education system, like school districts and talking to superintendents and stuff like that. But I felt like for me, it wasn't really a fit. So I was like, okay, I need to get into something like Course Careers. So when I was like, you know what, let me go ahead and just make this investment to get myself into Course Careers. And uh, that's when I transitioned from Fuel Sales Academy over to Course Careers. And the platform fitted very well what I was looking for.
Talk about that experience going through the Course Careers program.
It's it was challenging. It was very challenging. It's a lot of information you had to take in. I actually got through the platform within 2 weeks, but I was putting in at least 13 to 14 hours a day to make sure I was able to get through the platform, and I was studying over and over to make sure that the uh, the information stuck. Because you have that final exam and everything like that, so it's very important for me to just understand everything, just try to get down some of the main important skills with the calls, email outreach, all the stuff that's very important within the industry.
Yeah, yeah. So you went through the course very fast, a lot of information. What did you do once you completed the course? Did you start applying to companies? How many companies did you apply to? Or what was that process like going from course to getting the job?
Well, it was a long process, a lot of rejection, of course, something that's a natural part of sales. So just get ready for it. But you can do it. Um, what I exactly did to get into it, I just basically treated like I was basically turned into a hunter. I basically was selling myself. I had templates of emails I made. I was basically trying to cold call some of these companies to try to put myself out there, and I was emailing a lot of different companies. So what I would do is I apply to the company, then I go search for each company, search for whoever the hiring manager is, or whoever the SDR manager is, or I even reached out to some who was probably like almost the the VP of sales. I was reaching out to whoever I could get in contact with to put my name out there. So it was constant back and forth. That's how I was getting interviews as well. You won't get any interviews if you are just applying. You have to apply, do like a whole, basically put anyone you're reaching out to into your own little sequence and constantly reach out until someone give you that chance to be able to interview.
And how many companies would you say you applied to?
I applied to at least 100 and some companies before I actually landed one. I mean, I got about almost 10 interviews, but most of those companies was pretty big companies. I was trying to shoot for, big companies to see how I can do, but I applied to a good amount of them.
And how did you land at your current company? Talk about that experience, that process. Why was that one the right one?
You know, it was the right one because the industry I just talked to you about is construction. It was construction. I had experience in construction. I understand the industry. I understand how projects work. I understanding a lot of stuff about the construction industry. So when I actually got that email saying, "Hey, we want to set up an interview with you to speak more about what you know," it aligned very well to what I have already done in the field, hands on, to what they're doing currently, but in the tech space.
So, your prior experience working in construction as a welder, you think that really helped you stand out for this current company because it sounds like they're selling some sort of construction software, and that's what helped you get the job.
Yeah, that
Interesting.
had to help too.
And you probably were better suited for the job having had that at least some industry knowledge, and they probably liked you for that.
Right, right. Yeah, had to be. Um, and most of the questions was basically over my experience. So I just talked about what I did, to be able to get in, and what was some of the job duties and what was required every single day. Was it teamwork? Teamwork is very important in the tech industry because we are communicating with the AEs on a, the AEs about some of the notes that they're looking for to be able to make sure the meetings are qualified. So that was one of the main things they asked about. Is it like teamwork and everything required within that field, which is very strongly required.
And what were some of your top learnings from course careers that helped position you to get that job?
Be consistent. Be a leader. Don't worry about rejection. Um, be consistent with reaching out. And even though if you get a lot of no's, just continue to just really continue to go. Really, how you will get into the field is just to continue to show that you're trying and that you are made for it, and just really to never give up. But it was a lot of skills, especially just the I feel like the being able to just make your own email templates, having that good cold calling formula, that, if you stick by it, get straight to the point, just sell yourself, talk about the skills you learned and just give it all you got, really is the best way to really get into the door.
And how does I know you've been in the role for a month or so now, so still relatively new and still learning a ton, I'm sure. How does this work in tech sales compare to the work you had been doing in the field doing construction as a welder?
It's very much relaxing than what I was doing in the field. I'm so used to, I was welding, I was catching on fire probably every week. I caught on fire right here around my neck on my welding shirt. So caught on fire on one of my welding shirts right here while I was welding. But I was used to it. I mean, I'm, stuff like that. It didn't really scare me that much. I started welding when I was 16 years old. So it was, it's very similar though, because when you actually be able, when it's time for me to speak on the phone with them, I'll be able to understand what they're needing, understand their frustration a lot, because in the construction industry, they'll tell you a job will last for 4 years, and the job is done in 1 year. It's so up and down. It can be kind of frustrating when you got to hop to this job, within 1 year to a whole nother job. It's a lot of traveling. So it's really nice to be able to work in an industry that I'm very passionate about, but actually do it from home.
So no, not lighting your shirt on fire uh, these
Yeah.
days.
No, no, we're away from getting caught on fire now. So, yes, sir.
Just burning the cold calls each and every day, and maybe lighting the microphones on fire.
Right. Hey, that sounds more like it. That's all I want to do right there, and it's very cool. And then you know, this industry for like anyone who wants to get on, give it your all, and just know that you can make it, and don't let rejection bother you, and always have that mindset of still that you will do it, and that nothing's going to stop you.
What concerns did you have about joining Course Careers? Because it sounds like you had done the independent sales, you had maybe were in another course. How did you ultimately decide to invest in Course Careers? Because I'm sure some people listening to this right now are thinking about Course Careers. Maybe they've checked out the intro course. Maybe they're in Course Careers and they're looking for that little bit of extra motivation, like what you're talking about being consistent. But what concerns did you have about Course Careers?
I won't say it was a concern. It was more of just research and just finding out more information about the industry and how I could break into it. Because I knew I was seeing people taking the course, and landing roles and having a good amount of success within the role. So I was like, you know what? When I don't know what happened. It was just one day I said, I'm just put this investment into myself and I'm gonna just give it a shot, and it worked out. So
Do you think you would have found your way in tech sales without Course Careers?
probably not. It was hard to like. I was applying for some tech sales positions before uh, course careers, but nothing. It was very difficult. But I felt like once I got that credential behind me that I graduated from course careers, crazy thing is I landed a AE role. I landed an AE interview before any other interview with this platform.
How did that go?
Not that good. Not that good, not that good. But it was still I gained experience with the interviews. That was a big interview, which made it a lot easier for the other interviews that I got after. And the main one that made a lot of sense for me that I got was at that interview. The first one I had, the AE one, made it a lot easier for that one.
Yeah, I mean, if you can just skip the entry level SDR, BDR role and go right to AE, why not, right?
Right, right.
I like it. Shoot for the top. So if you applied to 100 companies, did 10 interviews, ended up getting the job at the right company selling software to construction, it's a great outcome. What did you learn about interviewing from all of those conversations, many of which did not go great? To your point, you probably learned a lot. What lessons can you share to people that are embarking on that journey right now?
Well, when you're interviewing, just relax. I found myself, don't get too, as people, we find ourselves getting very anxious. And I got just like that, kind of got a little bit nervous because my first time doing an interview like that and not knowing what they were thinking. Just go to an interview with confidence and not really worry about what they may be thinking, but worry about doing the best way you can and just trying to sell yourself, but show them that you know what you're talking about, and just believe in yourself. I say it's the biggest thing. Believe in yourself and don't worry too much about it.
And with your current role now that you've broken into tech sales, you're doing it. What are any of your goals for the near future that you're working on and trying to accomplish?
Well, one of my goals for near future is I want to really try to push to probably get into an AE role within 6 months, but I know it's going to be a lot of hard work, a lot of studying, only even when you're off of work. But one of my main goals is to be able to get an AE, but I would like to probably be in a leadership role because I really love to be able to lift others up and pour into people and help them elevate their skill sets as well.
And what's it going to take to get there?
Hard work, consistency, and believing in yourself and not letting anything stop you.
Good. Well, I think those words are super applicable to anyone listening that is trying to follow in your footsteps and find their way into tech sales despite having not really done it before, and turning your goals into a reality. So I think your story is a testament to it, going from welding to now selling software to help with the construction and the welding project. So it's amazing to see that full circle. Any final parting words to the course career students out there and the potential future students that are trying to get into tech sales?
Future words: don't hesitate. Don't hesitate. Just get at it. Believe in yourself. Get at it, and give it all you got. And put God first, and it will go your way.
There we go. Well, Christopher, thanks so much for being here today. Really appreciate it. And go get that AE position.
Thank you. Appreciate it, man.